Hello, good people. Welcome to my Plus Size Grandma reality show podcast. It's me, Coco. Glad for you all to join me. Listen there, will you? Glad for y'all to join me. Let me go ahead and share this out. And I'm going to be talking to you for a little bit here about some good stuff. You know, I'm telling you something. Life is already hard enough as it is, but we have to realize that everybody don't think like us. Everybody is not like us, and chances are people will never be like us or be like you. You are your own unique person, and so I want to speak about the time is now. The time is now. I don't know who needs to hear this, but the time is now. You have been holding back on things, doing things that God has given you to do. There's been doubt in your mind saying that you can't do this or you're not good enough to do this. But the devil is a liar. The time is now. The time is now. I have been sitting around for this last year, and as I was discussing last night during my podcast, I was telling them that, sometimes God puts you on reserve for a reason, reserving you to preserve you and save you for when the time is needed. And for me, that time is now. Now, for the last year, I have been living my life out here on my property that God has allowed me to have. And I have not had any peace on this property because of hate crimes. And, I'm going through a lot of hurtful experiences, emotional and physical. But still, God has allowed me to still stand here and say something to you all. And that is, the time is now. It don't matter how many people are coming against you or at you. Have faith in God and do what needs to be done. Say what needs to be said. And I just can't help but think this part right here. I want to make this clear because evidently I think some of these people, these criminal-minded people, always are twisting my words around. I don't hate community, okay? I believe in community. That's one thing I have always believed in, community, because where there's community at, there's unity. At least it's supposed to be. But that is not the case for everybody. Everybody is not having that same thing, okay? Like for me, for instance, I live in a community, but I'm not welcome as part of that community. I'm excluded from that community. And I didn't know this until a few months ago. Like, I didn't learn that I was blacklisted until like a year ago is when I first learned that I was blacklisted. But I didn't understand the definition and the depthness of that and what comes with it. I didn't understand that. And I didn't understand why I was blacklisted. I didn't understand why I was going through so many trials and tribulations and why my home was being vandalized, why my body being touched. I didn't understand those things. But now I'm starting to understand it more and more because I had to sit back for a whole year and I had to educate myself. Well, the education didn't come from me. The education came from others. Testimonies of people who have been through the same thing that I've been through. It come from books I had to read. It come from just reading the DOJ, things that the DOJ knows. Reading stuff about the FBI, the CIA. It came from studying all of these things. And I mean studying day and night, left and right. Studying all these things just to come around and still find the same thing. That God says, stand up. Now is the time. Ain't no textbook got nothing on God. And I'm going to tell y'all that. No textbook. Ain't no trick of the enemy got nothing on God. Nothing. The enemy came to kill, steal, and destroy. They're destroying my house. They try to destroy my life by trying to make me hate my life, try to make me feel bad about how I live and the way I have to live. Well, let me tell you something. If somebody is constantly sabotaging you, you don't keep blaming them for it. You find ways to get around it. Things you can't stop or things you can't help right now at this time, Don't keep blaming people for it, because if you keep trusting God, they're going to show up themselves. They're going to hang themselves. That's what they have done. They have hung themselves. They're going to turn on each other. They're going to turn on each other. It never fails. I don't know nobody that can do crime where one partner did not turn on the other, whether it was to get less time, whether it was to break ties, whether it was to go to a higher title. They turn on each other. And that's what's going to happen here. But I still got to stand and do what God wants me to do. I still have to realize that the time is now. Now, after doing all this studying that I've been studying, one thing that I can tell you, that they use torture tactics. They use mind control. And that's why I have to speak on this stuff, because I don't never know what day that they hit me with those beams that I may not be able to talk again. So I have to let out what I know now. Not in an anxiety way or anxious way, but in a way that's understandable for people. I still believe that my battle is over property. I think they trying to run me out of town. They trying to run me away from my home over property. They vandalizing my home over property. You hear those horns blowing? Those horns are surrounding neighbors. They know every time I come outside, every time I'm on the inside. These aren't, I call them the invisibles, okay? Because you never see them. But the only thing is, eventually, they do come to the light. Eventually, they do. They just don't realize it. But I believe that all of this is because of gentrification. Because I stood my ground against the town of Candor. I stood my ground. And what I said was, my mom, she needed a home. And she has to get a building permit in order to put a home down. Now, you can't, she's fixing to be 95 years old. Why would you want a 95-year-old to invest in a big home? And she don't need a big home. She just needs something that's comfortable, something nice. A single wide to do, okay? And so we went to go try to get her approval to get a single wide in. They heard nothing we were saying. And the reason why they heard nothing we were saying, because they had their own plans for this place. The same way they do for the neighbors in front of me, the neighbors on side of me, they just don't know it yet because of their ignorance, because they think by joining in, it's going to save them. It's not going to save them, because greedy people are greedy. And when you have greedy people, they're going to do just what they set out to do, or try to anyway. It's take more than they need. That's what you call greedy people, when they take more than what they need. So they want to build up this town of Candor. They want to build it up. They want it to be for rich people, not poor people. Not you poor people. Not nobody that has an income under $50,000. They don't even want you middle class people here. They want only rich people. They're trying to mimic Southern Pines area and the Pinehurst area. Southern Pines sounds a little broker, but the Pinehurst, Southern Pines area, it's no coincidence that they all are joining forces, because now all of them want to be alike. And so what do? They hire people to come and run the poor people out of their homes. They hire people to make us sick. They contaminate our grounds, our land, where we can't grow nothing out here. You can't grow nothing if they have poisoned the land. You can't have clean drinking water if they have poisoned the water. I've never been in a position where I had to buy so much bottled water. Never been like that before. And now I have to buy bottled water. Bottled water to drink and eat with. And I remember 2020. I was sitting in the town office, the town hall, And I said that, what are you trying to tell me? That poor people don't deserve to have a nice home? Or they should live in something like a barn, similar to a barn? Now, don't get me wrong. A barn isn't bad, okay? It's not bad. The problem is, it doesn't come with adequate bathing, bathroom. It don't come with that. So you have to outsource that and handle that. And some barns ain't made to live with, just for the simple fact of how the wood is made and, the chemicals that come along with it. So they're not made to live in unless you put up you have to come back and installate it and stuff. My mom got approved for a mobile home in 2019. And we wanted to bring that mobile home down here to Canada and put it where her home had burned up. And we were told no. We were told no because of the simple fact is, we don't want a bunch of single wives in our town. Mind you, there are a lot of single wives in this town. There's some behind the library. There's some not too far from the fire department. There's some, you can look around. There's single wives everywhere in this town. But specifically, they did not want no single wives over here on this spot. You would be surprised the people that have already came and scoped out your place. Now, let me tell you this part, too, before I go any further. So, before all this happens, a man walks up to me. He's been walking around this whole place, a white guy, walked around this whole property. And one day, I just happened to be in home, and he comes up and knocks on my door. And I said, yeah. And he says, do you know if anybody is selling any campers? Now, my niece had a camper down there at that time. She had about one or two, I think. And I said, no. But he had already walked around and seen the campers and all that. I said, no. This same man is an informant. This same man, he knows who he is. I'm not going to tell where I see him at all the time. But I have seen that man was on the cover. I see that man all the time. We started having problems after that. I never even realized they took my shutters off of my mobile home until they started putting them back. Because y'all, the reason why I didn't realize it, because they kept my head so messed up. Y'all don't understand how screwed up they can screw your head. Check out Havana syndrome. Go check that out. Go read up on Havana syndrome. And I'm telling you this for a reason. Because what I experienced last night was hot radiating beams hitting my head. I felt it all this week, hitting my body, hitting the top of my head. They were aiming at my brain to try to give me a stroke, and they were aiming at my heart to try to give me a heart attack. Why am I talking about it now? Because the time is now. The time is now for whoever will listen. Now, do I believe that the government will help fight against this? Do I believe that the police and the sheriff department will help fight against? You can't help fight against something that you're part of, right? So I have to go to God. Because remember the blacklisting. Once you become blacklisting, that means we don't have to protect you. It's illegal. It's illegal. Yes, it is. It's illegal. But they don't care. They willing to risk their rights just to defend. They willing to risk their freedom just to defend being in with the popular people. Or better yet, they fear the people because they know that if they join in and speak up and say what's right, that they're coming for them next. That's the difference. They're coming for them next. Now, I may live alone, and I may be here alone, but one thing I ain't is going to let somebody, if I can help myself, I'm going to help myself. I refuse to be muzzled. I refuse to be quiet. I have been hurt. I have been sexually abused. I have been physically abused. And now, darn it, I'm saying something about it. I'm exposing the enemy. I'm exposing the enemy. The enemy got no power. The enemy ain't got no power. And I'm going to keep speaking it. Now, they hired goons to come around and rough me up. And that's what they've been doing. That's what I've been experiencing. Every time I leave my home, I'm followed by people. Or it just so happened that people are coming to the same intersection that I'm coming to. It just so happened I could pull to a store where there's nobody at, and all of a sudden the store fills up with lots of people doing the same thing. Don't believe me? Go check out my YouTube page. My YouTube page, I went to one of the stores here in Candor. Nobody was there. But then, by the time I parked, next thing you know, the parking lot was really full. People walked in the store, they brought one item. Came back out. Now, these are the behaviors of who we call gang stalkers. Who are these gang stalkers? These gang stalkers are people in the community who were told that you did a thing, a bad thing, or that you're being watched, or that you're a threat. Like, look at this chemtrail over my head right now. But they're told that you are a threat to society. And so they got to keep their eyes on you. And they got to do what they got to follow you. They got to monitor you. They got to report back about you. And if you report back about her, we're going to give you some gift cards. What do you want? You want some gift cards? Well, I want to tell anybody that's listening, if you're doing this, that's called harassment. That's called harassment. When you continuously show up to where a person is at, and you just get all over them and won't allow them to shop peacefully, to eat peacefully, to buy peacefully, or not contaminate their food. I have did orders from Walmart where my food had been messed with, had been tampered with, and they make it hard anywhere. Anywhere you go, it's made doubly hard. Now, I know I'm only one person. I'm not trying to change the world. I don't have but one goal in this. And that's to expose the enemy. Now, what do people do with that? That's on you. Because, if I got to sit and suffer like this, going through this torture, I've been going through it for it's been actually happening for over 4 or 5 years, really. I just did not pick up on it till now. I didn't realize they were doing, they had me so doped up, in a sense to say. But it's not really dope. It's like laser beams and microwave weapons, the torture. There's no way in the world that I should feel the inside of my head feeling like it's cooking. The only way that can happen is if somebody is pointing something at me. Because if I get up and move out of the frequency of it, it goes away. Until they discover where I'm at and they put it back on me. If I feel it in my bedroom hitting my head, I get up, walk to my living room. I'm good for about 2-3 minutes. And then they bring it back. And my neighbors are helping them. They're helping them do it. All colors, all races. And little do they know they part of it too. They part of it too. They think that they run and stuff. But they just open the door for the enemy to come in and grab them just as well. Because if you can't look out for me, like I look out for you, eventually, whoever you're working for, they're going to turn on you. I mean, that's not even reaping what you sow. That's life. Two greedy people cannot get along. That's why we see so much controversy and fussing between Democrats and Republicans. Greed it is. Now, so how do I deal with stuff like this that I got going on? Well, the best way I'm going to tell you that I have been dealing with things is prayer, fasting, and And before anybody says, well, did she even report it to law enforcement? Did she tell the law? I mean, shouldn't somebody come out there and help her? Or can't we call social service in to help her or something? Well, let me tell you something. You call social service in, you want to. They're going to get told what they got told last year. Absolutely nothing, because they had no grounds whatsoever to be up in my face. None at all. As far as law enforcement goes, I did 12 reports. After I did 12 and I realized they was not going, well, I called them 12 times. They would not let me make reports but one time. I only got to make a report one time out of 12 times I called about vandalism to my car, my home. Only one time was I allowed to make a report. This is something like in a movie, y'all. I kid you not. That's what it feels like. It feels like one of those movies that you watch and somebody's got something going on all the time and somebody else doesn't believe them, and then you find out at the end of the movie that there's corruption. Well, there you go. I'm highly upset about last night. My sister had to come out of her bed 4 o'clock in the morning and come have prayer with me. But what if that's what God meant to happen? Prayer at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Because last night I was getting hit really hard. What I call hit is when they aim those lasers at me and they start trying to fry me and cook me from the inside. What does these lasers do? Well, over time, they're going to damage your kidneys, your heart, give you strokes, heart attacks, damage your eyes. All this because somebody wants property. Somebody wants this property. Somebody wants my granddaddy property. That's what it is. They want this property. And they have long time been jealous, envy of this property. And my name is overseer of this property. And people got nerve to be telling me that I should move and stuff like. Why should I move? I've been here 28 years. Why should I move now? There's nowhere for me to go. I don't have, funds like that to just say, well, I got to get up out of here. I don't have that type of funding. And the conditions that I'm having to live in can be fixed. They can be fixed. But just to tell y'all how it feels when them lasers hit you. I'm talking about it while I'm able to expose that. The enemy, listen, I didn't see these people point guns. I didn't see these people shoot guns. I didn't see these people give me gun signs to let me know that, hey, you talking too much or you doing too much. I didn't have so many bruises. From the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. To my big toe. To my little toes. I have then watched my body change. I've watched my breasts go small, go large. I've watched them change how they look, where they have dents, where they have cuts. I've got laser burns in my breast. I had laser burns in my eyes. I had laser cuts because the laser just don't burn. It can cut you too. laser cuts across my breast, in my coochie area. Can I say coochie? Is it all right that I say coochie area? Because I don't want to say the P word. But in my private area, I've got laser burns, blisters that hurt. Blisters from where they have lasered me in my private spot. I've got painful legs from when they have tied my legs up after giving me some kind of drug to knock me out, or I don't know how they did it, if they sent it through the ventilation system, but it knocked me out just like the day I didn't wake up to 3 p.m. I've got pains in my legs. Bruises that I didn't even know I had until I was going to take a picture, and I was like, I'm going to go take this picture of my before journey so that when it gets time for me to measure myself up to something, I'll have that picture. I take the picture only to find out I got belt prints on the back of my thighs. Belt prints or rope prints. It's one or the other. It looks like somebody just put my legs in some awkward position. And trust me, when you get knocked out by those medicines or those sprays, whatever it is they use, when you get knocked out, you don't know what happened to you. You just wake up and know that you're sore and you're waking up late. There's a lot of sexual manipulation and abuse that goes along with this. And I can't afford to be ashamed of it. But what I can do is expose it for what it is. These people are out here disfiguring us women because they want property. So even now as I'm speaking, they turn the thing on me, whatever it is, because I can hear it in my ear. It's a sound that goes, whoom, whoom, whoom. You can hear it. My legs have scars from the top of my hips all the way to the bottom of my ankle. I have been bruised, and that's how I know the time is now to stand. Because if you're going to hurt me anyhow, I might as well go ahead and speak on it. You're going to hurt me whether I'm doing good or bad. And I don't know what your good is, and I don't know what your bad is. This is my life. And I feel sorry for you backbiting, fake Christ-like people that call yourselves preachers, and you were the main ones that threw my name up, tried to make it look like I had mental illness. I didn't have a mental illness. I had people abusing me, but wouldn't tell that part. You didn't tell the part how I showed you what was happening to me, how I showed pictures of Bruce and showed pictures of people in my house. See, that's the thing about it. They didn't tell that part. But what they did do was come on and say, oh, she's suicidal. She needs to get to the hospital now. I remember I stopped one and I said, wait a minute, what you talking about? Go to the hospital. I'm going to get me some cameras so I can see who's doing this. She insisted, no, you better go to the hospital. I said, well, it's been a lot of people following me. And the moment I mentioned gang stalking, I never heard from that preacher again. Never heard from her again. Not to say how's everything going or nothing. And the other preachers, they went right along with the program like they were programmed to do. So you got to realize something out here. It's all types of programs and programming that we go through every day. Thing is, some of it's good and some of it's bad. And when you don't join the bad programming, they make sure you feel and get the repercussions of not joining the elite. The elite, however you say it. Well, that's not me. I'm not down with that. I'm not down with that. And I don't join forces with people like that. I was born alone. And pretty much my life is not alone. But I love a long time. I can't help that I'm born to like and be able to flourish in my alone time. That's called an introvert. So that being by myself does not bother me. But somebody touching me while I'm in my own space in my home. This is the place where I'm supposed to be comfortable, and you coming in my house doing stuff. And people want me to be quiet about that. Them preachers can kiss my who? Not my body. But they can kiss a donkey's butt. That's what they can do. That's what they can do. And yes, I am talking like that. Because if y'all will see what I see, then you will understand why I'm talking like that. Because some of them are not preachers, y'all. Some of them are not sent by God. Some of these guys are traffickers. And they just in disguise. They in disguise. That's all they are. What they do is they go out and they collect souls for the enemy. And you think they're collecting souls for God? No, they're not collecting for God. Because God would surely never have his people out here killing innocent people. His commandment is thou shalt not kill. So why would he? No, he would not do that. Okay? He wouldn't do that. Better read the Bible. Thou shalt not lie. He wouldn't have his ministers going out here lying on innocent people. You know, that's Satan who does that. But these preachers were lying on me, trying to make it seem like I was mentally ill. I think I'm still hot about that. I'm still hot about it because it just, it's how they did it. They did it on social media. They went to social media when I was going on about, I wouldn't call it a rant because it was a real happening. When I realized that I first was being stalked, and I went on Facebook and I started talking about it, and I was hysterical all over the place because I was like, they following me. Why are they following me? Because I ain't never been done like this before. And so I went on there thinking that, going to get some help from the police, or, somebody going to help me, or somebody going to, see my story and, at least tell me what to do. But you know what? They came on my post that day and started saying, go to the hospital. You suicidal. We're going to pray against the spirit of suicide. They were actually speaking that stuff on me. That's not what was going on with me. When I made that post, that video that day, I had to leave my house because I just did not know what else to do. And when I found out that they were watching and following me and stuff, I was like, you know what? Let me go and get some cameras. But by this time, I'm not realizing that my name is in the system to follow. I'm not realizing that I'm labeled as a terrorist, or that, what they call it, that I'm blacklisted, or that I'm on government watch. I didn't realize that. I didn't know I was on government watch. I wouldn't know that for another 8 months. I didn't realize that till 8 months later, that I was on the government watch list. But these preachers and pastors knew because they were notified. I'm telling y'all, the time is now. And if the enemy don't like what I'm saying, then they need to stop doing what they're doing. I hear them now. So that's why I'm to all the real believers, start standing up. Don't entertain this worldly stuff. Don't follow the patterns of this world. I'm telling you, I wouldn't have never thought that some of these people I ain't been looking up to them because, we all can fail. So I don't look up to them like that. I learned my lesson about looking up to preachers. Once you get done wrong by about 6 or 7, you pretty much are like, okay, I'm going to do what God said. I'm going to try the spirit by the spirit. So that's how I live. But this thing right here, man, when they started trying to act like me, started trying to mock and mimic me, and they were saying things that I was saying during my broadcasts and stuff. They would come back and try to copy all that stuff and started, getting sloppy with their work. That's how I can say it. They got sloppy with the things of God. Because usually they would come on and you wouldn't see nothing in their background. And now they were coming on. You see their TV in the background. You see their cooking oils in the background. And they basically were sending little hints that they know what I have in my house. Well, guess what, honey? You shop at the same store I shop at and you still jealous. You jealous because I am living and I'm doing what I want to do in life. But you are bound by contract and oath with these bad people. You're bound by your guidelines. You live by your guidelines. I'm gonna live by my God. So you keep on with that. See, they not free. They can't do what they want to do. They gotta do what they told to do. Everything they do is scripted, especially your big butt. Remember big butt? Light skin big butt? Scripted. Sat there and wrote down what I said, word for word, thinking that was going to make me feel bad. It didn't make me feel bad what I said about God. What I said about God then, I can say about God now. Because it's true. God is who I stand for. But this big couple who think they all that, I should have known. I did have discernment for them a few times. And I just kept watching their stuff. And I was like, okay. So she would come on, and one day I spoke at a program, and next thing I know, this woman is teaching on the same subject that I'm teaching on. Lord, they didn't send the blackbirds out. Teaching on the same subject that I was teaching on. She said everything I said word for word. Even down to, I've never seen this like this before in this scripture. Well, I'm pretty sure nobody got saved off of that message by her. Because by then, she contaminated it because it was not true from God, for her. That was for me. And it didn't make me feel bad at all. Because I picked up on that and I said, I wonder why she did that. And then come back, I start hearing them talk a lot about female prostitutes and getting out here sleeping with other people's husbands and stuff like that, and women having sex. And I'm like, what in the world? Let me tell y'all something. Now, this is true. Even if somebody is doing something like that, don't you think you ought to spread the word of God more than ever then, instead of trying to condemn them? Some of you stupid bastards was out there trying to condemn people. Y'all weren't from God. Y'all were trying to condemn people. Ain't no anointing on you, because if it was, you wouldn't be going through the things you going through. Or if you were going through it, you know how to handle it. But y'all stupid selves out here trying to front for the book, trying to front for your unions and stuff like that, not realizing you're not representing God. You aren't. You're representing your flesh. And your flesh said you got to stick to the script. Y'all are scripted. Scripted. You're not free to say what you want to say or do what you want to do. You scripted. And if you get out of line, excuse me, y'all. And if you get out of line of that script, guess what's going to happen? Then what's happening to me going to happen to you. So that's why you got to stay in line. You got that fear of going through this. Well, Jesus went through this. He went through a lot of this. Anyways, that's all I got to say. And I'm going to stop right there and just say this much right here. The time is now to get yourself together and get back to the things of God. Now, yeah, you've been stupid. I didn't call you stupid. You've been foolish. I didn't call you foolish. Now it's time for you to open your eyes and get back to the things that God really wants you to do. Get off this politicianal journey and get back to the godly journey. Get back to the spiritual journey. Come back to the side where you're helping people grow and live, not making people, devaluing people and slandering and gossiping them. If you slander and gossip, it's the same. I don't care if it come from a poodle or if it come from you. If you slandering and gossiping somebody, it's still a work of the enemy. Get off of that. Come on back over here to the side where we struggle. We go through things. We don't always do things that's perfect or right, but we still love God. So get off that pattern of the world. I know you need houses. I know you need nice cars. I know you want businesses. I know you want people to know about your business. But I promise you can flourish with God a lot better than you can Satan. Satan will have you out there with a one-hit wonder. That's all it'll be, is a one-hit wonder. You'll look good for a little while, and then you're going to fade out. But the things that are done for Christ is everlasting. I feel sorry for them people who just don't really know exactly what they're getting themselves into. Anyways, I had to come in because, y'all, I was getting hit in my feet. I hate when that happens. But I was getting hit in my feet and in my toes, and I had to get back in here and cut some air on. Now, I hope that I said something to help somebody, because I know you signed up to be in these programs, but it's never too late to stop participating in these things. Now, I know the program is called gang stalking, but I don't want to call it that. I just want to say evildoers. Like, I don't want to give it all that extra. It's just evildoers. That's all it is. It's doing evil things to people. Whether they innocent or not. Who are you to judge what somebody does? If I want to go out here and have me a one-night stand, that's none of your business. But that's not what I'm doing, though. If I want to go out here, and even if I want to drink me a beer or a wine cooler or something, that's none of your business. Even though that's not what I'm doing, but it's none of your business. That's between me, my temple, and God. If you coming from a place of what somebody done told you, hearsay or eavesdropping and surveillancing me, you're not coming from an authentic place. So shut up. Don't talk to me. It's not authentic when you got to steal to get it. You see what I'm saying? It's not authentic. So it's not going to help me any. It might benefit you through gift cards. You might even get a roof on your house. But I can tell you, it's got to be hard being an informant, because you definitely got to look over your back. Now, as for me, being a target, the only reason why you don't have to look over your back, because you already know they're here. You already know they're coming. And with the help of God, I'm going to get through this. And I'm going to keep standing, and I'm going to keep putting out my content. I'm going to keep doing what I need to do to survive. So on that note, peace, love, and happiness. I might come back on when I start cooking. I don't know. I might.